here, but Thrivers made here, right? That may not be the exact title. Here we go.
Thank you. Wow.
Do you want me to push?
Yes, please. Hello, everybody. How are you feeling? Good. I love the convincing good down here. That's fantastic. I'm really happy to see each one of you again, and I've seen some of you this summer, but welcome back to another year, a new school. Thank you to each one of you. Many of you have been a part of this journey. Some of you just joined us recently. Maybe you're just joining us, and I just want to say thank you for all of your support, for your prayers, for your enthusiasm, for your patience, and I just am really grateful and honored to have been a part of so many of your stories, of your transformation stories that you've shared with me. Some of you walked this journey together, and we're still walking this journey together. We have seen so many lives being changed among our students, among our community here on campus and off campus, and it's only the start of a big journey. And so as we start out, I just want to share a few things about what is happening, what's been happening with University Wellness and where we're headed. Hopefully I can give you some useful information that you've been asking about. But truly, this year as we move forward, we want to focus on the fact and what we hopefully all believe, that we are all made to thrive, and not just individually, but as a community together. And so this year, as we're moving forward, you're gonna see this all over the place, that we are made to thrive and that we really believe in that. I don't know how many of you have this practice. Do you have a morning gratefulness practice activity? Does some of you have that? Do you know what I'm talking about? Who has a gratefulness jar? Anybody? We have to change that. Okay, so we all need gratefulness jars. Please go buy a vase.
Does it have to be a physical jar? Like, could it be on your phone?
Yeah, sure. It could be a virtual jar. Sure, it could be. That's fine. That's all right. Good, yes. The idea here is that every single morning, before, whatever your morning ritual is, but somewhere in your morning ritual, that you really think about a few things that you are specifically grateful for. Now, and I'm not talking about generic things, although generic things are great too. I'm happy for the sun every day that it's up. I truly am. Hence sunflowers and sun, that's sort of my thing. But maybe you have specific things, very specific things. And the reason why this is so important is because I believe that as we go into a new year, as we are working on continuously, all of us and our positions and where we're in, to create the healthiest community that we can to help each one of us thrive in our areas, our students to thrive. I think gratefulness is a big piece of it because it changes our mindset. It changes how we come to work. It changes how we interact with each other. And so maybe this year, we can do this thing. Like, is anybody buy a vase? Would you buy a vase or a virtual vase and start every morning dropping little notes in this of gratefulness? Can you click for me? That'd be super great. So as I just told you, I really believe that each one of us here truly is made to live our life to the fullest potential. And so this year with University Wellness, as you know, I can talk for a long time, but I'm gonna just highlight a few points, okay? So click past that. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so University Wellness updates. So we have a few things that are continuing to happen, some of which you've heard of, but our certified well departments, you might notice a slight change in that terminology, right? So it used to be certified healthy departments. Now it's certified well departments for obvious reasons. I could go into the philosophy of that, but we'll leave that. Last year we had 15. Our goal this year is to have more than 15. So if you're in a department that has been certified, there's really no reason why you shouldn't be recertified because you're already doing all the wonderful things, right? And some of you might want to continue to focus on getting that certification, but as of today, we're accepting applications for this school year to become certified well. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, just email me and I'll talk to you, okay? We also have wellness ambassadors continuing. What's new this year is we're expanding this to our student population. So we already have the first 3 student wellness ambassador applications in as of last week, and we'll continue to expand that. Our goal is still that every single person on this campus is a wellness ambassador. That's the goal. So if you're not one and you want to be one, I would love to have you on board. So just get in touch with me. I tell you what that is and what it means, and we'd love to have you join our wonderful team of wellness ambassadors. We have a daily wellness theme. Do you remember that? What's today anyway? What's today? Thursday, right? Thoughtful Thursday, very good. Exactly. Some of you know what this is. We're continuing our daily wellness theme in our departments on our campus. And I'd like to announce that we have 2 larger events surrounding wellness, and then I'll get to the center, is our Made to Thrive 5th Annual Wellness Fest. Our first annual Wellness Fest was nearly 5 years ago. And remember, we tried to break a Guinness World Record then. Some of you may remember that, right? When you were here. So this year, I'm really, really excited to have our Made to Thrive Annual Wellness Fest. And we're excited to welcome Dr. Darren Morton from Avondale Adventist University for that. And we will have our Transform Together Wellness Week in the spring. The reason why I'm sharing this is because I most definitely will come and bother you about these things and partnering with your departments, okay? So that way you have a heads up that this is coming. I would love to have as many people involved as possible. So number 6, you see it kind of at the bottom. I'm also super happy to share with you that we are officially launching our own Andrews University Wellness app. And our app is called the Wellness Club app, and it is a part of our new Andreasen Center for Wellness, but it's also part of our overall wellness initiative. And some of you may be very interested in this piece. Because we're able to launch this, we're phasing out Fit Thumb. So some of you know what I'm talking about there. So Fit Thumb will be phasing out by October 31 this year, so you can keep using it until then, and then we're switching to our Wellness Club app. Don't worry, you can still redeem your points on Fit Thumb until October 15. So if you want to get your prizes and collect all the stuff, redeem your points, okay, on there. All right, going on to the next piece. So save the date. The Andreasen Center for Wellness is opening, and we are on schedule. And our ribbon cutting ceremony will be on September 26th, and we're extremely excited to invite all of you to come to that. It will be part of our alumni weekend, and it will be at 2 p.m. on September 26th. Raise your hand if you've signed up for your membership. Good. Awesome, that's quite a few, excellent. Those of you who haven't, you have plenty of time to do that, but I do want to encourage you to do it before that date so that you can kind of beat the rush to it and get into the system. If you have questions about membership, Justin, if you could stand up super quick so they can see you. Everybody, this is Justin Nye. He's a new manager for this Andreasen Center for Wellness. He can answer questions for you after. Okay, a couple of more things about the Andreasen Center. Oh, they click past that because I'm out of time. We'll talk about the vision later. Click more to the last slide. Yes, that's great. Okay, so we have the ribbon cutting ceremony, and we have the grand open house on September 29. That's a Sunday of Alumni Weekend. It will begin with the annual alumni run in the morning at the Andreasen Center for Wellness, so you can register for that and talk to Laura Malcolm about that. And then we will move on into a grand open house. Anybody's invited. We will open our doors. You can see everything. We'll have tours. We have sample classes. We have sample things happening. Invite your friends, neighbors, anybody can come, and then we open proper doors on the 30th for business, okay? So that's where we're at with that. And I can tell you I'm really excited because yesterday they started putting water in the pool, so it's slowly trickling into the pool. Apparently it takes several weeks for that to take place, so, but we're on track there. If you're interested, today is the very last opportunity for a tour. So today at 5:30, after this is done, if you'd like to join us, please do so. Come over to the center. After today, no more tours until we open the doors. So that's my last little part of it. If you have any questions, please know that it is my honor and privilege to be there for you individually, for your departments. Please let me know how I contribute to your well-being, and connect with us on social media. And I'm looking forward to working with each one of you this year so we can all thrive together. Thank you, guys.
By the way, speaking of being made to thrive, one of my most interesting Dominique moments was, I think, in this room during Rise Up Against Abuse, which was a great program about a challenging subject. And she gave a speech just like this one, and someone said to her, "Are you always this energetic?" And so I think the answer was yes. Before I introduce my boss, again, I brought the tie, the suit. I don't have red socks like Dr. Arthur has. I just wear black dress socks. But anyway, we have Ombuds people, as you may know. And if there are issues that you want to work through, And I just did some advanced connection training with new faculty, and we were talking about some issues like, how do you get stuff resolved, or if things are going wrong, where do you turn? And part of it may involve our two friends here who are Ombuds people. Alinda has served in this role before, and she's continuing in it. And these people can work with you. It's all anonymous if it needs to be. And then Ariel, who's right here, he looks very much like this photo here, is brand new and also joining us as an Ombuds person. And now, without any further ado, the state of the university, according to Dr. Andrea Luxton.
I've got this microphone. Thank you very much, Stephen. And before I start, I do want to just say thank you to our ombudspersons. Last year was Alinda and Ruben Perez-Schultz. I don't want to announce something that's not known, but Ruben, unfortunately, is leaving us for California. Don't know why he'd want to do that in a matter of weeks. And so he has obviously had to step down, and so Ariel has kindly agreed to take this role. And it is a role that I never know what or who goes to see the ombudsperson. Okay? It is completely confidential between you and them. And so please do feel free. If you do hit a wall in communication and need to, please do reach out to these individuals. All right. How are we doing? I'm going to start here. By the way, all of you should have a little piece of paper that says voting on it. Okay, we are going to do something later with that, so don't worry about that. Just hold it for the moment. If you don't, put your hand up and Valerie will get you a piece of paper. So just really quick. How are we doing? We're actually doing pretty well. We actually really are doing well. It's interesting as I travel around and I talk to people, and the vast majority of the message I get back is, I hear really good things about Andrews. Sometimes when we hear, we may not feel that way all the time. But really, that is how people are seeing us on the whole. And that is good. And last year, we did have really a pretty good year. Our enrollment was up every semester. It was up in the summer. We actually, tuition income in the summer was up quite significantly, about 600,000, something like that, which is really nice just for the summer period. So we have been doing well. How are we going to do in the fall? That's still a little bit up in the air. We have had some pressures on us. We have had a lot more of our international students having visas turned down. We have had some other issues in various areas that we may see impact our enrollment. So we're waiting to see. We're hoping that we will meet our budget and be flat, but we will wait and see what happens over the next couple of weeks as far as that's concerned. On our finances, again, we have, as you know, had 3 or 4 years of really trying to pull ourselves out of a difficult position where our enrollment started dropping, along with the country as a whole and our other Adventist schools as well. And it has got better and better over time. This last year, we didn't meet our budget, but we were in the black at the end of the year. And we were in the black close to 400,000 to $500,000 in the black at the end of the year by the time the audit was done. So that is encouraging movement in the right direction. How are we going to do next year? Well, again, we won't know, of course, until until we see what our enrollment is. Last year, as I mentioned to those of you who were hearing some of my other addresses during last year, why did we not meet our budget last year? And really, it was one thing alone, really, and that was our benefits and the huge increase in medical costs in this country right now. That just knocked us really way higher, and that was our biggest problem. And we've already even seen at the beginning of this year, despite putting $1 million extra into medical benefits, which of course goes back to all of us this year, we're still finding we're out of alignment over the summer months. So we're waiting to see how that goes. So What I'm saying is here, there were some good things. We've been doing some good things. We've been seeing some very positive directions. But we are facing headwinds in higher education which continue. And while we are moving in the right direction, I still can't say there's nothing to worry about. But I will say that I think where we have been heading is the right direction, and we'll be continuing to move that way. When we think about our graduates and our student success, we need to be proud. I mean, we really do. Our students do really, really well. It's great for me. Well, I have a mixture of things happening over the summer, but I've had a number of students come by even in the last couple of days who just have had amazing stories to tell of what has happened to them even in the last few months since graduation, and how grateful they are to one or more of you for the things you've done to enable them to be successful. They do well, and you are really very, very key to their success. So thank you for that. Wellness Center we've already heard about. This will be a really important thing for us, both positioning about what is important to us as a community, hopefully improving the quality of life for all of us on the campus, and also, I think, an important message to our community of what is important too. Some of you may be interested in some other things. Some of you, we had an early retirement incentive that was out there this year. You might be interested in knowing that 15 individuals took advantage of that. And it's up to them to roll out or say what they want to, if they want to say anything. But that, of course, will not impact us for another 12 months because that takes place in January and will continue to be funded, individuals funded through till next summer. But just so you know that was something that I think helped a few individuals in things they were working through. So we were pleased about that. All right, so there were so many good things happening. I'm just picking out a few that some of you may not know about. And so these are if your project is not up there, it's not because we're not very attached to that too. But this is just some of the great thinking that is going on in the campus that I want you to be aware of as we continue to reframe where we're going. I don't know if all of you are aware of this, but the dairy, of course, as you know, closed, and the Agriculture Education Center is opening. And Kathy Cadell has done an amazing job with her team, with Garth, and support of others on the campus to reframe what might animal science and agriculture look like without the dairy, and have come up with some really interesting ideas. I've seen that being talked about in a number of places, and it's getting a lot of excitement from beyond the campus, and also it looks like from prospective students. So this is a new thing, and I'm sure you're going to hear more about it going forward. A leadership center is something that you may have heard about too. It's going to be housed in the College of Education and International Services, if I got that right, okay? And this is something that is not going to be degree orientated, but it is going to be us reaching out in different ways to different groups to try and help build competency and capacity in leadership. We have already got some good funding for one area of that, which is looking at global leadership. And we also are beginning to work on a women in leadership concept as well. These will also always be self-supporting institutes and not bring us a lot of money, but I think doing what we should be doing, which is influencing the future of the church and the community through leadership. Social work. As those of you who were at our awards ceremony last year saw a little bit of what they have been doing in the whole area of trauma. Ingrid Slickers was talking about that. And they are moving that towards a trauma center, in other words, an area of expertise for which Andrews could be known. Huge amount of need out there. They've already done a whole lot of different things around the country, from Paradise, California, to working with refugees separated from their parents, young refugees, children. And so we look forward to seeing how that develops, again, a lot of people feeling very good that this is something we feel committed to as a university. And of course, we'll be supporting the social work program, so it won't operate independently to that. The fourth one is just, I just happened to see this in an email that crosses me. And sometimes email cross my path, and I see them and I knew nothing about it until it crosses my path. It's always good to know, because then I can talk about it. And this is one of them. This is speech-language pathology that have just received an external grant to do work with Parkinson's individuals, with Parkinson's in this area. And so that, again, is something that is really good. And as you look at all of these, several, particularly the last three, you see that focus on us making a difference in our community through what we are doing academically. And I think we've also had approval. We've put in line to offer occupational therapy. They only allow 2 or 3 programs to start, or 3 or 4 programs to start every year. And so you get in a line, but we're in the line now, so we had notification of that. So that's another good thing. So here are just a few things that if people say to you, what's new? These are a few things you can say, despite all the usual amazing things that we are doing. All right, I want to talk now a little bit beyond this about something that I feel is really important to us as a community, that I'm very committed to, and something that we want to focus on quite a bit this year. And I was up in Mackinac Island with the presidents of the private institutions in Michigan. And there was a speaker, an entrepreneurial speaker, and speaking about that, and he talked about the why. The why. Why do we do what we do? That we can focus on the what we do. And we do a lot of talking about what we do. What should we do new? We talk a lot about how we do it. How do we do this? How do we do that? Can we do it better? And often the answer is probably yes, we can. But the why is more important than that. And I put here that the what must support the why. It's never an end in itself. We should never be doing something just to do it. It should be supporting the why we're here, what we're here for. And similarly, how. Processes, policies, all of those things are the how, but they should never be an end in themselves. Right? They're always there to support the why. And here's a lighthouse. I got all these. I love lighthouses, and I don't know why this one particularly struck me, but it did. You'll see a few lighthouse images just popping in here and there, because I want this to be an image in what we're saying, because to me the why is the lighthouse that's constantly out there kind of giving us some direction. And if the lighthouse is flashing here and our what is going over here or whatever, and we lose the focus, then, we've got a problem. We have a problem. All right, and so I'm going to switch a little bit quickly from the why to the who must we be to fulfill the why, right? The why, if you like, is our mission. It's who we are. It's to bring change in the lives of students so they can go out and be world changers. It's the why. But who must we be as a university to be able to achieve the why we're here? Who must we be? At our heart, who must we be? And I've got 4 statements there that I think are important. First of all, we need to know that what holds us together is more important than what pulls us apart. And right now we're in an environment, certainly in this country, to some degree maybe even in our church, where there's so much to pull us apart. There's so much to pull us apart. And here, if we've got that why, the lighthouse there, we need to know that as a community, there's more that is holding us together than is pulling us apart. Okay? Keep all these things because I'm going to come back to them. And I think the who we are too is we're committed to what I'm calling a 10-10 model here of making decisions. Okay, I talked a little bit about this last year. Some of you may not remember it, but I kind of gave this little graph. If you've got a graph one side like this and it's productivity, and you've got one here that says people, and you plot where you stand or where Andrews University should be on that, where should it be? 1 to 10 here, 1 to 10 here. Where's the ideal place to be? 5, 5? Okay, the ideal place to be is 10, 10, right? The ideal place to be is 10, 10. Focus on productivity, which we can say is academic quality, the students that we graduate who pass their exams. And the other 10, the people, is about caring deeply and engaging in the lives of people. All right? Sometimes 10 can be policies. Sometimes people can be 110s, you know. They're more concerned about the policies than the people. You can also get 10-1 where you don't care about any policies at all. So the idea is basically you've got to aim at that two things that are both good, and you've got to aim for the ideal in both of them. Hopefully this will make a little bit more sense coming on later. I guess what I'm saying is two goods sometimes can potentially be in tension, but we shouldn't let go of either of them. All right. Thirdly, we're committed to valuing both individual and community identity. I think that's who we have to be. We have to care about the individual, but we also have to, I believe, if the community is important, we have to focus on that community identity too. That what holds us together, not what pulls us apart. And finally, my learned word from last year, we know that we must be irresistible because of who we are, not just what we do. At the end of the day, students may walk out of here saying, I had a brilliant education. But we don't want them to walk out of here saying, I had a brilliant education, but those people, or that bureaucracy I had to deal with all the time. Right? They need to leave here feeling, I had a brilliant education, and wow, I feel I'm a better person for having known those people that work at Andrews University. That's how it really should be. It should be both. That's our lighthouse again, just so we don't lose focus of it. Okay, focus on the lighthouse. You know, you think about, you can get it all the way through the Gospels. You know, where do you go? Just about anywhere. And you have that sense. This time I chose the Beatitudes. Because the Beatitudes to me are about community. And they're about individuals, and they're about attitudes and who we are. Okay? Who are we? Blessed are the, blessed are the, blessed are the. It's all about who we are. That's what at the end of the day makes the why, the mission possible. So this is kind of what I'm trying to get at here. Without the right culture, and some of you may remember when I first had my inauguration, I spoke about culture, so I'm going right back there. Without the right culture, strategy, innovation, and creativity will have limited successful impact. We have so many amazing ideas happening on this campus. We have so much moving forward. What I'm saying here is, that is great, that is wonderful, that will help us some. But without the culture, it's going to have limited impact. Even the wellness center, brilliant wellness center, haven't got the right culture, can have limited impact. So I'm convinced that living this culture may be the biggest deciding factor of success as we look forward. We are in such a competitive arena. We can compete somewhat on our programs. We can compete somewhat by just basically saying, you know, we're a faith-based institution, we're Seventh-day Adventist. But others also move into those arenas. I think the really deciding factor, what's going to compare one person to another at the end of the day, is going to be that culture, that who we are. That who we are. So this year we intend to push intentionally towards helping us as a community live in a way that universally speaks to the who we must be to live our mission. You know, I think we take it a little bit for granted. And It's interesting to me that over the last 2-3 years, several new people to the campus have all come by and said a similar thing. And what its basic thing is, so what are the core values that Andrews University expects from all its employees? What are they? And what do we do if people don't live according to those values? Well, you know, we actually don't have them. We assume them. We assume the who. But we've never really, at least to my knowledge, at least not since I've been here, articulated that who. Another lighthouse, just so you can see another lighthouse. Now, I'm going to talk about a few. So now I'm going to tell you what your piece of paper is. I'm going to lead into this. So next month, the administrative teams, both the deans and the vice presidents and so on, we're having a day-and-a-half retreat. And our focus is actually going to be largely on this: culture, values. And we want to come out of that at the end of the day saying, you know, if we could choose 5, maybe it'll be as many as 7, I don't know, but no more than that, values that we want to drive us on the question of who are we, that we are going to want to say to ourselves, everyone on campus, to our students, to our community. This is the things that drive us, that make us who we are. What are those things? What should we hold ourselves accountable to in the way we treat each other, in the way which we focus on the things we have more in common, the things that drive us apart? You know, I've got to say this, because I don't see this among ourselves. But it really saddens me when I see the rhetoric that now is just common use, that people feel they can say to each other on social media, and very few people are willing to call it out. Right? That type of thing splits us apart. And we may not use that kind of rhetoric, but to be totally honest, there are some things that we sometimes do that pull us apart. There's things that sometimes are the way we handle situations administratively that put a wedge between us and our students. And, you know, and whether we like it or not, we can say they choose what to do, what they want to do. But at the end of the day, I don't want a student leaving here saying, I don't want part of this faith community because I don't like the community that Andrews is representing our faith. So that's why I feel this is really important. So I'm not saying these are the best ones. I just put up these 4 because I like them. So I just want to get you a feel of what I'm talking about. I love the word generosity of spirit. It's not about just being generous and giving. It's an attitude of mind towards other people. It's not concluding that when they did this, they are like this, or they meant this. It's actually stepping back and being generous towards them and trying to really understand what is going on. It's just a way of thinking well about everybody else around us. Generosity of spirit. Equity. You know, some of you don't. Some people like the word diversity, some don't. Some like the word equality, some don't. Equity is something I really like because equality and equity is not necessarily the same thing. Equality says we treat everyone exactly the same. Equity says we give everyone the same opportunity as far as we can to be successful. Right? That's a little bit different. A little bit different. Because this person over here may need something different to help them to be on a level playing field with someone over here. That's equity. And it's, again, much more about thinking about the individual, which we're about. Okay, so I like the word equity. Faithfulness, I like the word faithfulness because faithfulness to me is about loyalty and consistency. It's not just talking about the old faithfulness to, I think faithfulness to God is very important, but I think God's faithfulness to us is amazing. It's not a limited term. It's about the way the way we see ourselves in relation to other people, to what we do. It's a sense of reliability. I think it's also a kind of form of integrity, faithfulness. And my last one is other-focused. If everyone was other-focused, none of us would need to focus on ourselves, right? Because everyone would be focusing on us, looking out for us. That would be an ideal. And I know I'm an idealist, but I think that's really important too. Sometimes it's easy, especially when we're under pressure. And take my office, for example. You get request, and it's easy to say, no, it's not policy, can't do it. Instead of being able to just take that moment to say, well, okay, that's not strictly policy. Is there something here? How can I still help this person? What can I do for them? How can I see it through their eyes? What can I do? That other-focused. Some of you may have heard me say this before, but I'm going to say it again, because it's something that really helped me. When I was a young administrator back in England, and my board chair was the first black president of the British Union. And frankly, I'm embarrassed at some of the stuff that was thrown at him. It was nastiness. And one day I saw something happen. And I saw his calm response. And I said to him, how do you do that? And he said, it's something I've taught myself, but now it's like a switch in my head. And when someone comes at me, it's like I switch their head and said, I wonder why you're feeling that way. I wonder how I can help you. He says immediately he turns that switch. It changes the whole conversation. That was a really helpful model to me going forward. When we are focusing on what is happening to us or controlling the situation for us, sometimes we just hit heads. If we can move past that to be focused on the other, it often changes the dialogue completely. Maybe I'm putting all those things up there because those are things I need to keep thinking about. And I do want to say this, in saying the importance of where we want to go with this, I want to say that I'm amazed every day at the quality and commitment of this campus and this community. So this is by no means saying something to you, anything more than I'm saying to myself. I think sometimes as we look at why we're here, our mission, and who do we have to be to really live that mission? It's more than the doing. It's about being. This is about the being. And we heard a little bit from our speaker this morning that sometimes you need to verbalize and identify what you're focusing on, what's important, to help you keep your eyes on the lighthouse. And, we get plenty of looking at lighthouses. And it doesn't matter, sometimes it's very frigid. Sometimes it's the end of the day. Sometimes the storms are there, all right? It doesn't matter. But I think sometimes we just need that help, that flashing light that says to us, this is what is important. This is what we are about. This is who we are. So I think what I'm trying to say today is, we are doing well. We have so many possibilities and ideas out there that we can hardly keep up with them. That's a good thing. I think we have a great, great future ahead. We have wonderful students that are going to arrive on our campus. There's something we can do as a community to push that even further, to make this experience a wow experience for them all. And I really think that maybe this is something that can help us all, not just in our relationship to our students, but maybe in our relationships to ourselves, maybe it can help us individually in our own personal growth. So, now to why you have a piece of paper. I want you to think of the 3 things that come to your mind. If you were to choose 3 values, 3 things that you think could be some of those drivers for us of who we should be, what would those be? Top 3 things. So what are we going to do is, if you're online, if you're listening to me online, this is your time now. You can kind of write those down on a computer and send them to Dalry. All right? So we're going to collect all of these, and when we have our retreat in a few weeks from now, we're going to look at what everyone has said. We'll do a kind of, I'm sure there's an electronic way. I'm sure I should have spoken to Janine, and she could have shown me how I could have done a scatter graph of all this so you could see it immediately. But we didn't get that organized. So it's going to be the old-fashioned way, pen and paper. The 3 things that strike you and say, these are the 3 things that I feel most passionately about, would be important to who we are as a community, because we really do want to push this out. We want to look at this and then push it out to, first of all, us, those of us who work here, and then also to our students, and really try and see what can happen if we define these, live them, are accountable to them. How can this help us in what I think is could give us that additional edge to what we're trying to do as a community and as a campus and for our students. I like this poem. I'm going to finish with a poem at the end here. Like the sentiment of it. I'm just going to read this. Like spectral hounds across the sky, the white clouds scud before the storm. And naked in the howling night, the red-eyed lighthouse lifts its form. The waves with slippery fingers clutch the massive tower and climb and fall, and muttering growl with baffled rage their curses on the sturdy wall. In other words, basically the lighthouse, I can't touch the lighthouse, right? The storm doesn't get it, but it can't break the lighthouse. And I think that's the ideal I want to leave us with. The lighthouse is, at the end of the day, our mission, but what lives out that mission is who we are. Then we live it out on how we do it and what we do. But the who we are, is totally interconnected with that sense of mission. Let me pray with you. Our Lord and our God, this university is an amazing place to be and an amazing place to work. I thank you for my colleagues, their commitment, the many cases, the many, many years they have served in this place for our students. And Lord, as we begin a new year, we want to recognize again your leadership of this institution. We want to recognize the mission that we have, the lighthouse that is out there, helping us define what we do and how we do it. But Lord, in order to do that, we also need to focus on who we are, what drives us as a community, what makes us the kind of place that can fulfill the mission that we've embraced. So Lord, bless us as we continue to go through those conversations this year, along with all our visions and ideas and strategies as we move Andrews University forward with you. We pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, so Stephen is down the front and Dave is at the back. So as you leave, please drop off your pieces of paper. Okay. Thank you for coming.